Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. We are going to check out a couple of more aggressive growth stock pick ideas for you with Bill Wilton, who is our aggressive growth stock analyst at Zacks.com. And I've never heard of these that you brought with you today, but I'm sure you'll explain them to us. Enbridge Energy Partners is one, EEP, the ticker symbol. Obviously in the energy space.
Yeah, what they do is, they're obviously a partnership and they own transportation pipelines. So what they do is they're in the business of moving any type of energy pretty much. They do petroleum, natural gas, crude oil, that kind of thing. And they are centralized in the Gulf Coast area and the southern states of the U.S. Things are going well for them. Their most recent quarterly results were announced on October 29th, so they've got some coming up fairly soon. But in the latest earnings report, their net income was up about 44%, which is excellent. Their earnings per share came in at 86 cents, which was up about 21% year over year and beat analyst expectations by 26 cents. So it was a fantastic quarter. They also announced that they're going to be having several projects that will start hitting the books about mid next year. So look for summer of 2010 for a couple more projects to start adding to this top of the line growth. The other interesting thing that has happened over the past week or so has been we've seen stories about Exxon acquiring XTO, which is a natural gas company. So a lot of analysts are expecting some consolidation within the energy industry. How that affects the pipelines in particular, we'll have to see. But because this deal actually had to do with hard assets rather than a pipeline. But I can't see how the pipelines wouldn't benefit as well, because they might try to vertically integrate and get a share of that transportation as well.
And as a point of reference for the audience, we're recording this on December the 15th, and so if you want to plot it on a calendar, as when Bill said a couple of weeks ago, that's why I always do that.
Yeah, it was actually, I believe it was Monday, so the 14th. Yeah, okay. I believe that's when the story broke.
All right.
But as far as the aggressive growth portion of this company, the year-over-year growth isn't huge. It's actually flat this year, but they're seeing a lot of earnings momentum, which is another sign of an aggressive growth company. They've seen those upward revisions over the past few months. And speaking of momentum, their share price is almost off the charts, if you will. Yeah. They've been climbing steadily. The MACD looks great.
It's up to the upper corner of my chart anyway.
Yep. That's where you want them to be, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're still there in the coming months.
Right.
But yeah, so the share price is up, estimates are up, things are looking good for them.
All right. Another company that you wrote about recently, VIVO, V-I-V, the ticker symbol. I'll let you tackle the second part to the name. There is a second part to the name.
The best I could get was Participacoes.
Okay.
I was in Brazil. I was in Brazil in November. And
yeah, you could have at least learned to speak the language.
Didn't quite learn that one. But they are a Brazilian cell phone or cellular communication company. They do the mobile devices, texting, obviously phone calls, that kind of thing. In their most recent quarterly update, they saw their customer base up 16% year over year. So these emerging markets, it's a growing industry in a growing market. So they're seeing a lot of exponential growth there. Their revenues were up about 4%, but that led to more than doubling their profits. Their net income was up 154%. So things are going extremely well. Now, we don't have a baseline estimate on them, but the current annual estimate is up 19 cents to $1.14. Next year, analysts are expecting over $2 at $2.11, and that's going to be an 85% year-over-year growth next year if both those levels are met.
That's an interesting concept that you just brought up. A growing industry in a growing market. So do investors need to be aware of any quote-unquote growing pains that these companies may be going through?
Well, the interesting thing is, in the U.S., the telecom industry went through a massive change. As cell phones became more and more popular, People are ditching the landline for cell phones. Now when you look at these developing countries like Brazil, a lot of them, you know, they're almost not even laying landlines in a lot of developing areas. They're just skipping straight to cell service because what's the point of installing outdated technology when they can just jump right into it?
Yeah.
So as far as the growing pains go here, it's going to depend on, you know, a lot of the government stimulus, how well they keep their general economy going. But, you know, utilities are generally safer than a lot of other areas because, you know, utilities are almost a necessity, you know, to most portions of daily life.
So yeah.
That's what I really like about it. It does have that aggressive growth component, but it is a safer part of an emerging market.
All right, that's why we check in with people like you.
Mm-hmm. The shares are also going at a pretty decent value. If you just look at the PE ratio, it looks a bit inflated, but when you take in those growth rates into account, you've got a PEG ratio of just under 0.6, which is a great value. Means we're getting those growth rates at a very good price there. So that's why you have to look just beyond the earnings. You also have to look at that growth.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I really like about this company is that they're continuing to set new 52-week highs. You know, time after time, we've seen companies that set new 52-week highs, go on to set higher highs. Here you can see on the chart they've got a great upward trend, and they've got a series of new 52-week highs. So that's obviously a very bullish sign. And, you know, like I said, developing market, developing industry, and a great chart, great value.
All right, do you own either of these two?
I do not.
If you want to check out more Zacks Rank Buy stock pick ideas, go to our homepage and look over in that upper right-hand corner. That's where we put 4 new stock pick ideas up for you daily. With Bill Wilton, I'm Terry Ruffalo.